Hey guys, and welcome back to another Conan Exiles video. Today we are in the central Highlands, just west of the middle of the northern aqueduct, building a Khitan Castle. This build was suggested by Zodiac Queen on my Jungle Home build guide, so thanks for the suggestion, Zodiac. This build is going to be designed using a fairly standard castle design, with the inner castle designed as a collection of buildings surrounded by a small bailey, which is then enclosed with exterior walls. Khitan is a pretty versatile building material, however it's not the best for castles seeing as the wall pieces feel quite soft and warm in my opinion, probably due to the fact they're wood, and thus don't really suit the style of a castle. The foundations however do make for pretty great walls due to the look of solid stone, so you can definitely make Khitan work. Khitan is one of those materials that can work well with some other materials in the game to either complement or clash against the tones present in Khitan, so feel free to experiment and use your imagination with the different materials you could use in this build. So without further ado, let's get started. Firstly, we're going to start off with the base plate of the interior castle. I'm going to be building the structures of the castle onto a 16 by 16 block of Khitan foundations, later on marking out roughly where I want each building to be using wooden foundations, using paths between the buildings to connect them all together, which you'll see shortly. Next I moved on to the walls, moving each wall out 2 tiles from the centre square and building a 1 tile wide perimeter around the build. I did accidentally only move the wall on the right side of the build 1 tile away from the centre square, which I will fix later. I cut holes into the centre base plate to plan out where I want the stairs to sit, then moving the front wall forward 2 more tiles to allow for a bit more space within the bailey at the front of the build. Next I started to draw out the outlines for each room using Khitan foundations, connecting the pathways together to allow for free movement throughout the castle to each building. In total this creates 5 different builds, 1 on each corner and a rectangular room in the centre. If you choose to use wooden foundations for the floor of the buildings as I'm doing, you may need to remove and replace some of the foundations as I'm doing now. Wooden foundations will only clip based on the orientation of the pieces below, which means you won't always have consistent grain on the floor depending on how you've placed them, and that's one thing I always make sure to do for pretty much the sake of my own sanity. So do remember this if you're using wooden foundations inside the buildings, although you may be able to just get away with using ceilings. I'm not too sure, I didn't try that. Next for the walls. I built the walls 5 tiles high, sitting 1 tile above the gateways I would later place at the front of the build. When the base of the walls were complete, I then created a small platform at the front of the build to allow for stairs to allow a smooth transition to the gates, then creating another small platform inside the bailey to smooth the transition down to the ground. I then finished off the walls above the gateways with ceilings and foundations. Next for the buttresses. I fixed the right side wall to make sure it was 2 tiles away from the centre base plate, then starting to build the buttresses. I built them using wedges at regular intervals on each side, then capping them off with sloped sides and inverted Khitan wedges, though I would later change this design. After the buttresses, I then ran a single line of ceilings around the perimeter of the walls, going underneath the ceilings afterwards and placing reverse Khitan roof pieces underneath to create a slope to increase the total width of the wall to effectively 2 tiles on the top. I then placed fences around the outside of the walls and awnings across the top of the wall on the inside and outside tiles, then placing fences on the inside tiles of the wall as well. At this point I took a look at the buttresses and really didn't like how they looked. To me they didn't make much sense. Therefore I removed the inverted wedge and sloped sides, and then raised the buttresses using wedge foundations to just underneath the reverse roof pieces, and used sloped sides to have the buttresses support the overhang on the wall, which visually makes a lot more sense in my opinion. Next, for the interior baseplate of the castle. I built buildings around each wooden foundation section, with the outer buildings being 2 tiles high and the centre being 3. These builds will all serve different purposes, with the buildings in the corners all having elevator access to allow troops to reach the castle walls easily, no matter where they may be in the castle. Finally, when the shell of the build was done, it was then time to, of course, furnish. Approaching the castle, the walls look structurally sound yet still imposing, with the wedge buttresses supporting the overhang perfectly. I've decorated the area with torches and war banners, which suits the environment and the atmosphere of the castle pretty well. Entering the bailey, we've left it fairly empty, aside from some archery targets for the troops within. Heading up the stairs, the inside of the castle feels like something of a small village, which is kind of what I was going for. The large rectangular room in the centre of the build is the church, which serves as a shrine to Decetto, with space for the troops to pray to the forbidden god of lust. Heading back outside and into the back left room, this is the bar. Every good castle needs a place to relax, and this bar is exactly that, with plenty of room for patrons. The back room also has access to the aforementioned elevator, though this back room could be improved with some more storage options for the bar itself. The elevator takes us up to a platform where we can access both the walls and the adjacent build. The adjacent build is the canteen, where meals are quickly prepared and served to the hungry troops within the castle. Again, some storage in the back room could improve this kitchen, but it works very well for what it is. Heading into the bottom right building, this is the storage room, where weapons, resources and goods are all stored. This building offers plenty of storage, with lots of room for even more if you should need it. Again, this build has access to an elevator to the walls, which also allows for connection to the adjacent building by traversing the wall itself. The bottom left building of the castle is the communal bedroom, which is fairly good, but it could be better if there were more beds, as in retrospect, only 5 beds seem to be nowhere near enough for a castle this size unless there's 3 in one bed, and in these size beds, not likely. A basement for this building would have been a great option to allow for more beds. And there we have it, a Khitan Castle in the Highlands, just west of the Northern Aqueduct. Thanks for watching, and thanks again to Zodiac Queen for the suggestion. I really quite enjoyed this castle and I think it's a pretty decent improvement over my last couple of designs. If you've enjoyed this video, leave a like and let me know in the comments below if you have any build suggestions for future videos. As usual, absolutely anything is welcome. Don't forget to both follow me on Twitch and join the fun on our Discord through the links in the description. And if you'd like to support the future of this channel, the link to my Patreon is also in the description below, with various tiers and rewards including special Discord roles, sneak peeks at new videos, your name at the end of videos and more. On that note, a thanks to our patrons Sammy, Doomshade and Dawnfox. If you're new here, feel free to check out the rest of the content on the channel. There are plenty more Conan Exiles videos coming every Wednesday and Sunday, so if you like what you see, subscribe and ring the notification bell to be the first to see the next video, and to join us on the road to 10,000 subscribers. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.